Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddie System, a 911 deep dive podcast hosted by three friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
No stone is left unturned.
And no buddy is left behind.
This episode brought to you by What Goes Around Comes Around by Justin Timberlake. This is gonna ruin the tour. What tour? The world tour. Welcome to Dispatch. What's on call this week?
This week, we're discussing Season 1, Episode 8, Karma's a Bitch, written by Kristen Rydell, directed by Barbara Brown, and it originally aired Wednesday, March 7th, 2018.
We had a few calls of the week. The first one being the bullet tree, or what I like to call as the Whomping Willow, where a man is shot by a ricocheting bullet in a tree that he was trying to cut down, which was previously lodged in there by his late wife, who he abused the year before. There's a lot of flashbacks in there. Then the next one is the extra crispy tanning bed, where a gym employee calls 911 for her boss, who is literally burning up in a glitchy tanning bed only a day after he left his hot dog in his hot car.
His hot
Not.
dog.
No, we're doing that again. I was like, wait. I was like, hot dog? Hot diggity dog. It was his dog in the hot car. Then next we have the porch pirate, where a woman who steals packages off people's porches trips and falls while trying to make a score. The next one we see in the episode is the Tiger King. At the zoo, a man who happens to be the dentist who previously made the news for poaching a protected lion on a hunting trip terrorizes a tiger who ends up escaping and flips the script of Predator and Prey. And then the last one we see very briefly, it's not like a full-fledged call, but it's the Run Over Robber, where we see Hen and Athena at a gas station where a robber ran out but was immediately run over by a dump truck. So it's pretty obvious in this episode, we see a lot of karmic retribution, right? Like the whole thing is about karma. And boy, there must be something to that, because we have been trying to film this episode or record this episode for like what feels like weeks.
It's been 2
and
weeks.
Something
exactly.
has happened. And I'm like, what bad karma do we have? Like,
What did we do to the universe?
I feel like it's been like a month.
It's been like 3
Since
weeks.
we recorded? Probably, yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, between internet outages, bad storms, being sick, feel our bodies being like against us,
Dissociating from the state of the world.
the telenovela politics.
We're living in a telenovela.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't know what it is. I think we need some good karma. So
I don't know. They just did not want us to talk about this episode.
No, it didn't. It really didn't, and I was like,
It's hilarious because I have nothing to say. So I don't know what they were trying to stop me from doing.
it said you didn't try hard enough to talk about this episode.
They said, actually, you guys just need to shut the fuck up for a month. That'd be great.
you know, sometimes the universe is screaming at you, you know. I don't know what it's screaming, but it's screaming something. So-
I am, and by the way, I am running on 4 hours of sleep. This is not product placement, but I'm going to put it out here. Please sponsor us.
It's not, but it could be.
It's not product placement, but it's also not product placement. Brought to you also by Celsius. The
We are
energy
not
of
sponsored.
champions.
We are not
No.
sponsored by Celsius, but
We can search that out.
Unless
Unless.
hopefully the 200 milligrams of caffeine in this thing will keep me up. It is currently midnight, I'm sure. Almost. I'm not looking at the time. I'm assuming it's midnight. But we're here.
We're here. We're queer. Our mental illness
We
is
made
severe.
it. We're doing it. Let's get into some of the themes.
Thank you, Rachel.
So, the theme for this episode is karma. I know, it's shocking.
Wow. Had no idea from the title.
They really hammered this. They were very heavy-handed with the theme in this one, from start to finish in every aspect. So that's the overarching theme. And Rachel broke it down into a couple other things. And my favorite one is the hubris of man, which I translated into the audacity of mediocre white men.
Which is a pretty astute definition, but it's all about, like, hubris is all about, like, excessive pride, arrogance, overconfidence. And I think we see that a lot in the characters that get bad karma.
It's the walking through life thinking that, like, you're above reproach, you're special, like, you know, nothing can touch you, that you're owed something.
That you're entitled to all the things.
Yeah.
Above everybody else and nobody else can touch you, sort of thing. So we'll discuss hubris of man a little bit as
Karma's
well.
Gonna get her fingers all over you.
Who?
Karma.
Oh.
You said no one can touch you. Karma's gonna feel you up.
Except karma. And, you know, sometimes it's just the universe does that. So in that vein, to kind of go along with, like, the hubris of man, it's this, like, pride, arrogance, overconfidence is also predator versus prey, or more generally and more humanly speaking, I guess, is bullies, right? So, you know, a lot these people who think they're, you know, so much better than everyone else, just, you know, miles above everyone. A lot of times they're like these, they take on, like, this top dog alpha, like, personality, and, like bullies, they often prey on weaker or people that they perceive as weaker. And that we're kind of going to see that a little bit as well throughout the episode. But it doesn't actually make them bigger or stronger, because it always comes back to bite them in the end, as we see, sometimes literally. So and there's also and these are kind of all connected, but in bullying someone or preying on someone else, there's also what we see with a lot of these characters in the calls is a lack of remorse. So sometimes, you know, if you do a bad thing, you feel bad about it, but these people are so just, like, head high in the clouds that they, even though a lot of times I think we see that they have an awareness of what they're doing or what they did was wrong and not, like, morally acceptable or socially acceptable, but they continue to do so anyway. So that's just, like, a complete lack of compassion. And I think we see this a lot, or a couple times, with lack of compassion for other humans, but also other animals as well. So there's kind of like this like pecking order, right? Which kind of goes into, like, the predator versus prey again. And then a couple other things that we see specifically revolving around the concept of karma is divine timing. I remember watching the episode, and there were a number of times where the word, like, timing is of the essence or something of that nature was kind of mentioned. So I think that kind of goes along with karma, because karma is kind of like irony, right? So it's going to, when the bad karma gets you back, or no. When karma gets you back, it's going to be at like the most opportune time for like it to be fully ironic, right?
Mhm.
So
It's the comedic timing.
yes, I think karma is like inherently really funny because it always is. It's all about comedic timing or just timing in general. And then I think one of the last things that I kind of wanted to point out was this idea with karma and trying to balance the universe sort of thing, and what someone might think is like God or the universe punishing them can often be reframed. So there's an element of perspective and how there might be opportunities where you think it's a bad thing, but if you kind of like switch your perspective, it may not be as bad as you think. So the idea that karma is not wholly good or wholly negative, it kind of like, it depends how you look at it. And I think we see that most of all with Bobby.
Mhm.
So we'll get into it that then. But I think that's most of what like we want to keep in mind as we're talking about the character arcs and everyone gets their comeuppance. Essentially. So let's just dive right into see who's cooking.
Who's cooking? So I think the character that deals the most with the kind of classic idea of karma, which is kind of it coming back to bite you in the ass, is Hen in this episode.
Definitely.
We kind of see her like gleeful at all these calls, you know, because all of the people on these calls deserved the shit that was happening to them. It was very much deserved, right?
Yes.
You know? And she's like, karma's a bitch. Karma's a wild animal. And she can't be tamed.
Oh, she definitely can't be tamed.
Right? And so we see her very much like
taunting.
You know,
almost.
Taunting, but just kind of like
not the people, but like kind of the universe.
She's being karma's hype man is what she's being. You know what I mean? And then, you know, she has to face the own karmic repercussions of her own actions from the last episode. So I thought that was just a very interesting way to do that.
Yeah, to have it come full around, because I think she is the person in the episode that says the episode title, first of all, at the very first call with the tree. And you would think if she's like so aware of all of these things, kind of like, oh, well, this guy's gotten his karma, this guy's gotten his karma, she would be a little more maybe like not receptive, but kind of like cautious.
I feel like she should have like been looking behind her, like, hey, karma's actually looming, like right there.
Maybe the call's coming from inside the house.
Yeah, like some of that self-reflection from the last episode. Bring it here.
Yeah.
A little bit. And I feel like, to your point, there might be a little bit of projection there where she's maybe subconsciously, purposefully, like not looking at herself or looking at herself reflected in these calls.
Oh, for sure. Because like at the end of the last episode, we see her just kind of like, you know, on the beach with the full moon, just kind of like head hung in shame.
Yeah.
You know, for what she just did. And then all of a sudden in this episode, she's just like, get him,
nothing
karma.
Happened. It's fine.
Nothing
Everything's
happened.
Cool.
You know,
like,
we don't see her communicating that she did anything wrong to anyone that she knows until towards the very end of the episode. We definitely don't see her communicating this betrayal to her partner. We don't really see her
she doesn't get the chance either.
No.
She waited too long.
She did. And we don't see her like really reflecting. And it's just so weird because normally like the way that they do the kind of interactions of like how the calls reflect what's happening is like it really makes those characters think or reflect in you know, a direct or indirect way. Yeah. So it's just so crazy that like there were all these things happening that was like, hey,
bonk,
do shitty things. Shitty things are going to happen to you. And she's just like, yeah, that's right. And then is just completely like, I don't know if she just completely like dissociated.
Like, I wonder if it's because I don't know how long it's been since, you know, crazy full moon and, you know, the day that these calls are happening. But like, maybe she's like, I'm going to put it off. I'm going to do it, but but she keeps putting it off because things are things. And then she's probably like still like deep down, she does feel shameful about what she did, but she's also scared of like not the circumstances, the consequences of what she did. So I don't like. It would have been nice to see some of that reflection, but it's also good to see kind of how Karma is a bitch. You know, like she,
yeah.
Our
main characters are not exceptions.
Exactly. Like, I still hate the storyline. I
do too.
Yeah. I hate the storyline so much, but like it was a really like bigger picture kind of thing. Like, I love how they played it out because she is like Han said, she is the one who actually said the episode title, and then just like seeing all these things happen to other people, she's just like, yeah, Karma's a bitch, like, you know, but she doesn't. She's like not thinking about the karma that's about to like sneak up on her, you know?
Exactly. And it's so interesting too, especially going from the last episode where she has that ending monologue where, paraphrasing because I don't remember it exactly, but it was something to the effect of, you know, whatever you do in the moonlight, you have to reckon with in the light of day.
Yeah.
And you can see, what were we saying earlier? It was something about like, there's like some sort of like
juxtaposition.
Oh, the
discordance. Yeah.
Discordant. There's a different word that I want to use there, but I keep forgetting it. Yeah. Just like really a lot of discord between her words there and her actions in this episode up until the very end, because she's just like so compartmentalized it, I think, that she just doesn't realize these people. I think it's also like what we said with the themes, there's a lot of lack of remorse, but we know Hen has so much guilt and so much remorse for this, but she's not letting that kind of resonate fully to get her to do the right thing yet, I guess. Because I think we all believe that she was gonna, but she just didn't yet. She was gonna tell Karen, but she just hadn't yet until it was
and it's because it's that the wibbly wobbly timey wiminess of 911. Like, we have no idea, like, you know, if this was like a couple days, like if it has been a 48-hour shift, has it been a month? We have no idea how long, you know, it's been between, you know, the transgression and what's taking place in this episode. But I do think to some extent, like, it can be excused because, like, she's working and you have to compartmentalize when you're on the job. And I think she does the best out of anyone at the 118 of like actually putting her personal life aside to like focus on the job.
Yeah.
But I don't know, as someone who is just like painfully self-aware at all times, I would have been like, Karma's literally gonna kill me. Like, it's literally laughing in my face, telling me that it wants me dead. Like, I would have taken each of those calls as a personal attack.
I think that's a good point where Hen really does the best job out of everyone in compartmentalizing personal life versus job, because I know we see like Athena, there's bleed over all the time. With everybody, there's bleed over. But not as much with Hen, and this is probably one of the reasons why Karma's out to get her, because of that. And I would like, she wanted the opportunity to fix it, but like, you have to be proactive in that sense, and you can't just like let the opportunity like pass you by. I think this was also a lot of divine timing as well, because she kept putting it off for, again, who knows how long. And again, in the last episode, there was that moment where Hen was talking with Athena and they were talking about how, or Hen was saying, you know, it feels like a bomb's about to go off in the relationship. And this is before she slept with Eva, but she was thinking about it. And Athena was like, no, the bomb's going to be you. It's not going to be Karen.
Yeah.
And I think we see that is like the most fulfilling of foreshadowing in that sense through this episode, because it's like, yeah, you done messed up and you got to face the consequences of your own actions, unfortunately.
I think what makes it like really bad for me, like abhor cheating in general, but in fiction, it's fiction and it's used as a plot device, like a lot of other things are.
It's more of a thought experiment.
Yeah. So I think to me, what makes this particular act of infidelity so messed up is how premeditated it was.
Ooh.
Where it wasn't like, she just went over to her house, they had some drinks, or you know what I mean? Like there was no under the influence, there was no, it was the heat of the moment. It was
just the moon.
It was literally thinking about it like all day, driving there on purpose, stone cold sober, even after you had your friend tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. And I think there's something to this as well. Like, in addition to lack of remorse for a lot of the other calls, we know Hen has remorse, but this idea of premeditation, I think, is pretty prevalent with everything else we see in this episode as well, where it's like,
oh yeah,
they'd kind of made their mind up already.
Yeah.
So there's no amount there. It's almost like there's no amount of trying to persuade someone from not doing the thing, because they're going to do it anyway, which also kind of, I think, goes into that hubris sort of idea, because you can't tell them anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they're just going to do it no matter how bad it's going to turn out, unfortunately. Like a compulsion, almost, like we see with the porch pirate.
It's just insane to me of like someone like with Hen, who's someone supposed to be like so smart and level-headed, for it to be just like so premeditated, but not to have thought about what the repercussions of that could be, not just on her marriage, but on her family, on her kid, who is her ex's. Like, you didn't think about how that could, I don't know.
Like, you had made the decision, but you really didn't think it through fully. And I think that also goes to show that karma isn't always sweet, or it isn't always like a sweet vengeance sort of thing. Because a lot of the other calls that we see, these people deserved it. I mean, as much as like we can say anyone is deserving of harm or anything like that, fictionally, narratively and fictionally, they deserved it. And I think having Hen come face to face with this, it's like, we don't want her to deserve that kind of, life blowing up moment.
Like I mentioned last episode, I said something about, even though she did, like, again, hate this episode, even though she did the unthinkable, you still like her as a character.
Mm-hmm. You empathize with her.
You empathize with her. You still like her as a character. It's kind of like fictional, again, and in the fictional circumstance, it's kind of like, I'm okay with what is happening to you currently. So I think she deserved that karma, is basically what I'm trying to say.
She did. She absolutely did. It's just that she's a different case in this episode, because we are set up to empathize with her, because she's one of our fire family. She's part of the 118. But I think that also goes towards like, karma is so just like, oh shoot, what's the line from Hamilton? Oh, karma doesn't discriminate, right?
Oh, death doesn't discriminate. Yeah.
It's so discerning, because it doesn't care like who you are, what you've done. If you've done like, if you garnered bad karma, it's gonna come back to you like a little boomerang. So
I think the thing that for me would be unforgivable, and what we see Karen rightfully fucking pissed about at the end of this, is like, you didn't think about your family.
Mm-hmm.
You did not think about how this would affect your family. And not to make parallels.
Don't say
make parallels. I
not
love
to make parallels. But we see something kind of similar that happened in season 7.
I love my cheaters
with Eddie. You know,
my cheaters on the 118. I love
where we see Eddie loses his goddamn mind, right? And he does not think about how his actions could affect his family.
We see the karma when it's found out. So it's kind of a through thread there. I didn't even think about relating it to that.
I don't know what's worse, honestly. Like, I don't know which revelation is worse.
I think Ken, just because, I'm sorry, Marisol, but like, your relationship was not that deep.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about her.
Well, it's
you were thinking about like Christopher,
because it's infidelity, and it's an infidelity, even though this is emotional versus physical.
Yeah.
It's still infidelity.
I mean, I think they're kind of on the same level in that way too, because it's.
But I think it's all bad. It's such a direct betrayal of someone that you're married to, who you're raising a child with, who is raising a child with you who didn't even want children, like who made such a huge. I don't know. Did she not want children? I don't think she wanted kids.
I don't remember. Did she have reservations about adopting?
I think she definitely had, because I don't think they had been together that long.
No, that's what I remember, but I don't know if it was outright she didn't want kids or she just like hadn't gotten there yet. But
I think there was definitely reservation about having a kid in general, and then definitely a reservation about it being her ex's kid.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, I think.
Yeah, so it's like, this woman did all, I don't know.
It was like,
I know Karen's not a perfect person. No one is, but I just like, I think the betrayal of like a partner like that who's so committed to you, who you're raising a kid with someone who could fuck up your family, that's so much worse to
like
me.
in a legal sense. I think
Yes.
I think that it brings the extra weight, because it's like you're not just dealing with, people's emotions and feelings, which you can kind of eventually try to like talk it out and understand, just like from a compassion standpoint, which I think Eddie would have to do with Christopher and vice versa. But bringing like that extra like legally binding, this could, I mean, you're kind of dealing in both instances, you're dealing with a child potentially being taken away, right? Yeah. But
you're dealing with hurting your child potentially, no matter what, and that was not a thought that was put into, the action before it was done.
Yeah, and it really goes to show like how much of like kryptonite Eva is for Hen, like giant blind spot. Because she's usually so, again, we haven't seen her that much in this first season, but we know already that she's so like kind of analytical. She's quick to understand, a situation sort of thing. So it almost seems out of character, but we haven't like learned enough about her character to really be able to say that. But
well, smart people can do stupid things all the time.
That's true.
We wouldn't have a show here if that wasn't true.
We love watching smart people do stupid things.
Yeah, but
that's a great question though. So
yeah, I mean, I guess we could debate it both ways for sure.
No, but
I
I feel like I'm inclined to agree either of the ways. Well, just inclined. I feel like I could agree with like Hen and Karen. I mean, because there is like that legal aspect, even though we were clowning that there was a certain document that was going to be brought up and like.
Listen, it is what it is.
Anyway,
we had great ideas.
God, we did. Tim Minear.
Hit us up.
Hit us up. Look at our stuff. Okay? Look at our stuff.
Happy to provide some inspiration.
We're fun. We're a lot more fun than I don't know what side of the internet you've been on, but that's not. But anyway,
he was in the bad place.
We need to bring you back into the medium place at least. Like,
yeah.
Welcome to the buddy system, aka the medium place.
Medium place. No, from the good place. It was the medium place. Yeah, to go with our other motto, we're smart and we're funny and people should listen to us.
I thought you were going to say our other motto, which is, it's good enough, I guess.
No, that's our first motto. Wait, no, they're both our mottos. Anyways.
Trying to formulate my thought. So yeah, like I'm inclined to agree about like it being Hen and Karen as opposed to Eddie and Christopher. We have a short period of time with them. We haven't really like gotten into their like full relationship and their ups and downs, what they've gone through. We don't get to see any of that till like as the show progresses. And then with Eddie, I mean, we do get to see that build up, but there's so many other aspects that, again, like I know like I'm saying Eddie and Christopher, and I'm not really saying like Eddie and whoever he's in a relationship with, but like
rather
it's just that's
a little inconsequential.
I mean that relationship was like not of any value. So
I could sit here for 45 minutes and just talking about how it was more of a betrayal to Buck than it was to Marisol.
Oh, 100%. But we're not going to do that.
No.
We're going to save that.
We're going to save that.
But I think it's because, I mean, again, with the smart people thinking but not thinking, where it's like, you know, it was premeditated in both cases. But Eddie at least was like, you know, this is going to be separate from my kid and like he's never going to see her. So.
Yeah, but that's almost kind of worse.
Well, no. Because if you're having an emotional affair, you don't have to tell your kid.
That's true.
But like, if you cheat on your partner.
Yeah.
Physically, especially, you have to tell them, like, if you want to continue to have a relationship with them. So
it's different, but it's so similar, like kind of shockingly so.
Do we want to talk about our third cheater of the group in comparison to Hen? Buck.
Okay.
I mean, I have nothing, but I was asking. It was just a question.
No, it's just the three.
That's true. It is just half of them.
Cheater. I'm thinking of that picture with like the 118 and the meme that people put together where it was like
Michael
cheater, arsonist, like
he's a cheater, right?
Chimney.
Was Michael dating a person before he told Athena?
Yes. I think he was seeing someone.
Okay.
The person that I think his name is Glenn.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Glenn.
I don't know. I don't think
he's
Buck
not important.
Counts here because Buck kind of was like fine with those consequences.
But it's the way he handled it.
No, I don't think he was fine with those consequences. No,
but it was subconsciously he was fine. Like he doesn't want people to leave him in general. But I don't think he would have done that if he was in a relationship that he really cared about keeping.
He was also not necessarily as much of an instigator in that circumstance either.
No.
And he stopped it. And he called Hen, and Hen was like, "Don't tell her." So we've got the original sin. The original
not
sinner.
The person to go to for that kind of advice, okay?
No. Yeah, so the original, he went to the original cheater. from the show for advice, and she was like, don't tell her, it'll only hurt her, which is like, what kind of advice? Even
That's
especially
terrible
from
advice.
your
Like, you
situation.
learned from this, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
So-
my point. I'm like, you should have learned from this. So why would you? Because at first she's like, yeah, you have to tell her, and then she's like, no,
Actually, no.
don't do that.
But weren't they very inebriated at that time as
They
well?
were,
So,
but like the Vino Veritas, whatever,
like,
blah blah blah.
Mm.
If you really wanna,
I like your funny words, Magic Man. Okay.
it's still. I mean, and then he just jumps into, "Hey, Taylor, move in with me." That's
Yeah, that was bad.
that's
that was bad.
that was a choice, Buck.
That was the most egregious part of like that whole situation for them. But like,
Because I could argue, well, not even argue. Like, I think it would have been morally gray for him to not tell her if he hadn't asked her to move in. But the fact that he was like, I started a sentence, but I don't want to say the thing I started with. So, like, maybe instead, move in?
again, love smart people
People
doing
stupid
things.
Stupid things.
But that's part of being human.
That's true.
And that's why we adore these characters. They've never done anything wrong.
Exactly. We will defend
JK.
them,
Just kidding.
but we will also like
I can't defend Hen doing this.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Me either. I still love you, Hen.
We will defend them on so
love
many
Hen
other
so
things.
much. I'll defend
but-
pretty much anything else you do in your life ever, but this is sorry. I
You,
am
you get one.
standing with Karen on this one.
You get one. Oopsie. No, you don't.
Depends. We'll see. The show isn't over.
We defend a lot of bad behavior for our fictional characters,
Like,
but it's
you
fine.
can't say you get one oopsie. The show is still airing. Someone's gonna like take a clip of that.
Someone's
No,
And be like, you said one oopsie. He did it again. Anyway,
oops, I
welcome home, cheater.
So I feel like very briefly before we move on to the next ones, we should kind of talk about how this karmic retribution is when Hen goes home and is like, you know, she's kind of pulled up her big girl pants and was like, I'm gonna do the right thing and I'm gonna come clean about this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of beaten to the punch in this grand irony of Eva contacting her lawyers and threatening to take Denny away because of an unstable household. And Karen is rightfully like so pissed and just like, oof, talk about like karma hitting you right in your face sort of thing. And I don't really know what else I wanted to say about that, but just like Karen, oof.
It's like she said, it's like, I don't know what you went there looking for, but I hope you got it.
Mhm.
And I hope it was worth it. And she doesn't know what she went there looking for, and she didn't get anything, and it was not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. It's why the whole thing is just so fucking bizarre to me, because I'm like, it's one thing to like do something shitty, but to do something shitty that is going to like come back and possibly bite your family or the people that you care about in the ass too. It's like, whatever, if you want to put your own ass on the line, whatever. But if you are going to do something that can like domino effect the people that you care about who are innocent bystanders in this,
Like the ripple effect is so much wider than just yourself. And I guess that's why it was just like a really selfish act to do, which again, kind of selfishness and hubris, I guess, can go in that as well. But it's just like, yeah, it's bad. And we don't want these characters to go through bad things, but that is why they are so compelling, because of them going through bad things. And a lot of it is the mess of their making.
Yeah.
I'd like them to go through bad things that aren't cheating. It's my least favorite thing.
I hate the cheating. I do hate the cheating storylines. I mean, I'll deal with it. You know, I want my favorite characters Even though they did the bad thing, I want them to learn and grow from it. So it's great character development. So I'm okay with it. But
supposedly,
I know there's one thing that I'm not going to be okay with. But I'm not going to... No. Not going to say it.
Just for us?
Does it have to do with Karen?
No. It's got to do...
Does it have to do with Buck?
It would be Buddie in general. Like, if I have to witness... I don't know how I would feel if I have to witness, like, a cheating storyline with, like, Buck
They're
and
not
Eddie.
going to do that.
They shouldn't.
Because they've already done it with both of them now.
But no, here's the thing is, like, if they do cheating in them getting together, I am not going to feel good about that.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know how I'm going to feel.
I don't think that would benefit.
I feel like Buddie is too much of a prized endgame type of thing that I don't think
I would hope, but I don't know.
These people are crazy. And by these people, I mean writers. But
yes.
Affectionate.
Particularly our dear showrunner. Or showrunners. Showrunner. But I feel like with the way fandom is right now, like I feel like there's too much at stake to even consider doing that kind of storyline, but it's not out of, the realm of possibility, unfortunately.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I would think it wouldn't be very creative storytelling if they were to go down that route, especially with, we've already kind of been there with Buck, and we're kind of like dealing with similar-ish, like in the same vein sort of scenario with Eddie. So like it just wouldn't make, it would be, I don't want to say lazy writing, but it would be not.
It's just for shock. It would be a shock value.
It's just one of those things where I'm like, I don't want to start like what is hopefully an endgame relationship with cheating, even though I don't give a shit about.
No, because then it's like
Tonka
the character. Okay, it's
Wait, what did you call him?
Tonka truck.
Exceptional.
Tarantula.
I'm
Thomas the Tank Engine.
I think the crux of it would be in having Buck and Eddie get together with cheating on I'm trying to come up with a funny T name and I can't. T-ball.
Timu.
T-ball.
Temu.
Stop saying Timu. I don't want to see any more ads.
Timu sponsor.
Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I think if they had Buddie get together with Buck cheating on T-ball, whatever, it would indicate that neither Eddie nor Buck have grown from that previous storyline of both of theirs. So I think it would be to the detriment of their characters to go down that route, because the whole thing about getting them together is about like character growth towards that, like, these like parallel lines that are intersecting eventually and weren't actually parallel lines. It was just like, so, like slightly, but yes.
Anywho, back to the plot. What was the plot?
We're moving on to the next people.
What was the plot? What happened to the plot of the movie?
So this brings us to our good karma candidates of the evening. Yeah.
Looks at Rachel to start.
Moi?
Yes, you.
Oh God. Okay. So we see Athena on a lot of the calls as well, and I don't really know, like, she doesn't really necessarily have any personal, like, good karma, bad karma going on. It's kind of like karma footprint neutral for her. Like, she's not personally dealing with any karma, but it is kind of funny when you know, how sometimes she brings her like personal life a little into the forefront while she's on the job, and she's dealing with people who are getting like their karma back at them, specifically like the porch pirate, where she talks, she just like goes full out against this lady who's stealing people's packages off their porches, and she's just like, if you want your leg fixed in a timely fashion and all of this, like she does not have the energy or the capacity to hear any sort of like sob story, any excuses from this lady, from this perpetrator today, because she's already been dealing with so much at home still, and it's
she's maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
She's maxed out. Like she said that she's the only person who's really doing any heavy lifting. She's the only person doing any emotional labor in this supposed situation where they're supposed to be like putting their kids ahead of them and sacrificing to like, you know, for the greater good of their kids or whatever. And
yeah, like making their family work. And
right.
You know, Michael says at the very beginning when they're sending Harry and May to school that they're adapting to their circumstance. Well, neither of them really are, actually. It's just kind of like, as much as Athena is kind of adapting to put on like the happy family sort of thing, internally she's really not doing a good job at adapting. So she's holding this kind of like almost resentment for the whole situation. And it's like, why, like she and Michael are trying to put on this facade, this front, that everything is fine, like they're continuing their family, and
nothing's gonna change,
but they're really at this standstill because they're acting for the benefit of Harry and May that nothing's gonna change, but Michael is talking about like wanting to move forward. So they're kind of at an impasse there. They're on separate pages, which I think is another theme that we've seen with romantic couples, especially in the Heartbreaker episode a few episodes ago, where you just see these two people in a relationship that are like totally not like congruent. And we see that as well when Athena speaks with Harry and May, and they're giving their mom like a little reality dose check.
Yeah.
And they're like, why are you pretending? Like, we know it's bad. Why are you doing that for our benefit? It's not going to help anything. And I think that helps Athena really put a different perspective onto things. So Athena may not be dealing personally with as much karma, but like the hand that she's been dealt, essentially, she just has to change her perspective and look at it in a slightly different way. Like this whole, maybe it's time to start moving forward. Like the if we're talking about divine timing, the clock has stopped for her because she wants to keep things the same, but they need to get it going again. They need to put the clock back on and move forward. Like
for
Michael
her,
said.
The whole thing was, you know, I mean, marriage vows were important to her, but it's just for her kids. And if her kids, the reason why she's doing this, are saying, we don't want you to do this,
then there's no reason.
Then she's like, well, then why am I doing this to myself? Like, why am I? And the whole scene that she has where she says, like, we've got to get a divorce so I don't hate you, because she's already starting to, you know?
Yeah.
If they kept going down this road, I don't think it would take much longer, because she still loves or is in love with this person deeply, and it's hurting her to see them like move on so quickly and be so excited. And it's like, she is supportive and happy, but at the same time, it's like, normally when that situation happens, like, you have a distance, you know what I mean? And you have time to like get over it. And then if you want to become friends again, like, there's, you know, some healing that has happened. And again, you aren't living with them and like pretending, like doing all the motions of being married, except that like you're not getting any of the benefits emotionally at all, because you're just kind of doing all the work. So I think it is great that she, listened to her kids and then listened to her own gut, Like, she's been giving all this relationship advice to Hen.
Easier said than done, right?
Which she wasn't taking. Yeah. And Hen's been giving her advice.
Which is also maybe not the most reliable right now, but
no. But I think it's reliable to say that, like, if you are married to someone who cannot give you what you need in a relationship and never will be able to, then you don't have a marriage.
Then why stay? Yeah, then why stay in the relationship? Because it's not helping anyone. And I guess it's kind of like, to tie it into hubris again, like our themes. It's kind of like this arrogance that things can remain the same even though everything's changing, and that just kind of like blindness to it, and kind of sticking your feet in the mud a little bit about just like, nope, we're good. It's gonna be exactly the same. But I think she shows a lot more maturity when when given the push from the kids. And yeah, it's just like when she's able to do that, when she's able to actually like move, I think this is like some of the first real growth that we see in Athena, because for so much of this first season, she's been frustrated. She's been angry. She's been taking it out on when she's on the job on these people who are doing no good, very bad things, which again is her job, obviously. But sometimes sometimes she oversteps, like we saw when she was going after Layla, who was bullying May. And she was just like taking a lot of this out, this anger that she had building up in her, that I think she was doing that so it wouldn't be focused on Michael. Like, that was her only outlet for that. But to acknowledge that, she doesn't want it to turn to hate, and that's what's happening, I think really frames it, like when she closes the door on that, and that shows a lot of growth. But then she's also, I guess, kind of like rewarded by karma, because when another door closes and another one opens with when she's at the bar.
That's what I'm saying. She gets rewarded by having a... That's not a good pun.
Wait, I want to hear the pun.
No, it's so dumb. It doesn't even make sense.
You gotta do it for Rachel.
Do it for me. I'll be the judge of that.
Queen of dad jokes.
No, it's not good. It doesn't make sense. No, it's she is presented with this dickertunity. I know it's bad, so don't make that face. Anyway, that's what this was what I was getting at from the beginning. This is her good karma. She does all this. She was doing all this emotional labor, and then she was the bigger person again, which she's been being this whole time, by being like, okay, no, this is actually what we need to do. It's what's best for me. It's what's best for you. It's what's best for our family. And then immediately the universe was like, finally, here you go. Here's
the present.
A gorgeous man. Hop on this.
Yeah.
That's her good karma. I'm just saying. She hasn't gotten some in a while. It's what she deserves.
It is what she deserves.
I also feel like, Athena has the good karma, but like with doing all the emotional like lifting and like being the more mature person, because like I don't recall, so correct me if I'm wrong, but did Michael ever say that they should get a divorce? I don't think so, right?
I think he like agrees with her. Like in this conversation they have.
Yes, I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying
before this?
Yes, I'm talking about before this.
Previous episodes.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he kind of...
Like, even when they were in therapy, no.
I think he was still operating on the whole, like... I think it was a mutual understanding for them to, like, keep the family together, but also he was seeing someone else. So that made it like extra complicated, but I'm not sure divorce was ever like fully in the conversation. I think in the second episode when they see the Hamburglar with the guy with the dogs. I'm going to continue calling it the Hamburglar.
Yeah.
With the hamburgers. And Hen was the one to say, like, newsflash, if your husband's seeing someone else, like, your marriage is not going to last much longer.
Yeah.
I think that was, like, the most that was talked about, though. So,
I mean,
please continue.
No. Well, my small little argument was like maybe there was some karma delivered, bad karma for Michael instead, even though like, yes or no, could be an argument for it.
I could see that angle. Yeah, because it's one thing to like, I don't know. I just abhor cheating. Like even when it's fictional, I hate it, and I don't like perpetuating any kind of stereotype like this for the LGBT community. So
yeah,
I don't know. I just to be like, I have been seeing someone, like implying that he's been seeing them since before he like came out to her.
Yeah, it's all not great.
This is kind of like Michael's karma. I mean, like now Athena wants a divorce, so that would mean. Not that you're not going to see your kids, but now you have to move out of the house. There's going to be, I mean, obviously we know that they are going to continue, forging or rebuilding a friendship or whatever, say you. But it is karma. Like there is some karma. And it may not be Athena. Athena's on that neutral good karma, I guess, spectrum. But Michael has a little bit of that bad karma that I think we didn't think about. I didn't think about until just now.
Yeah, no, either. That's a good point.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think you have a point though, because he kind of did want to have his cake and eat it too, because he was all about like adapting and changing and like flowing in the direction of like change and stuff. But he was also just like,
it was in your hubris of man.
Yeah, I'm going to stay at home. Like, I'm going to continue. And he was so pumped about it, too. Like, when Harry and May were going off to school and they were like, bye, goodbye, And then, Athena just, like, peels herself away from him, just, like, feeling this, like, resentment and disgust for herself, I think, as well. And he's just like, yeah, we're doing so great. We're staying together for the kids. We're doing all this. And it's like, I think a lot of that, like, kind of bad karma sort of stuff stems from him not fully seeing how much and how deeply this is hurting Athena.
Yeah, right. No, because he's so excited about finally like, and she even says
living
like,
his truth.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you to be living in your truth, but like it fucking sucks for me.
Yeah, he is also, I guess, a little has some hubris on that aspect as well, as a little like overconfident, a little like arrogant in that way, like, yeah, we're killing it, we're crushing it for the kids and everything, and just like really not for two people who worked so well as partners for so long. He's kind of just like how I guess Hen was a little blind to the self-reflection, seeing all of the people on the calls getting their comeuppance. I think Michael is kind of blind to that as well for how much it's truly affecting Athena negatively.
Well, he's so wrapped up in having, having a relationship where he can experience the physical attraction, probably for the first time, right? Because he was so closeted. So he's just completely wrapped up in that and the euphoria of like when you come out and you get to finally be your authentic self. But he is not thinking about how this is affecting her. And he's not really thinking about how it's, neither one of them are really kind of thinking about how this is actually affecting the kids. They were just like, it's obviously better for them if we stay together.
They're assuming.
Again, it's that kind of almost selfishness. In again, just like Hen, where neither of them in this case are kind of taking a fuller look, taking a different perspective, or seeing it from the other person's perspective, and really fully understanding about like that is affecting the rest of the family in ways that they didn't quite expect.
Well, and he's trying to like integrate this guy into his family already. So like,
yeah. And it's not just like
Bro.
In that case, wouldn't you want, like, I know kind of technically Athena has already met him, but that was at the hospital in like the absolute worst circumstances when May was there. And it's just like, wouldn't you want to facilitate kind of like a them getting to know each other better in order to do like the whole co-parenting thing? That's just my idea, but
well, and like she said, like I don't know that I agree with that specific timetable of like how long it should be to meet before you meet the kids, but it's like you should, like when you have kids, you should probably be like pretty certain about someone before you introduce them into their lives so that they don't have that inconsistency.
Someone else could also take that.
Yeah. Advice. Well, he's coming at it from a completely opposite angle.
I know. I just couldn't help myself. I had to throw that one in there. We just
had to make it about Eddie.
That is our compulsion.
Soon, guys. Soon.
2 more episodes. 2 more episodes. 2 more episodes.
Oh my god.
The heavens opening.
That's going to be our good karma, okay?
The empty coming and taking away season 1.
That will be our good karma.
Taking Abby away so I never have to talk about her ever again.
Being able to talk about Eddie. Presently.
Being able to talk about Eddie and only having to talk about Abby one more time.
Oh my god.
What? Not exactly.
Like, as a very significant part of a character arc?
Well, I would say she's a significant part to Buck's character arc. So.
Wait, what are we talking about?
I'm talking when she comes back.
That's what I was talking about.
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, in general. Like, I was like, what are we talking about? Because my brain
I thought you meant like episode 9 and 10.
Else.
No.
Sorry.
No, one more time after this season. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Cool. Okay.
Anyway.
What was the plot that we were talking about?
Jesus, I don't even fucking know. Okay.
Anywho, back to the plot.
We are the plot. We're the main characters.
We're the plot's actual plot.
So I think that's about it for Athena. And
time for Bobby.
Time for Bobby, who is the main character of this season.
He really is the main character, and oh my gosh, it's just like there's a lot to unravel with the idea of good karma, bad karma, what you deserve, all of that stuff with Bobby, and it's just like this. I know we've had a lot of emotional storylines with Bobby so far, from his origin story and everything, and it's just like it really tugs at your heartstrings, but this one does too, because it's just like I just want to like take him and take his face and just be like, you deserve good things.
Yes.
Which I think is kind of essentially what Chimney is trying to do for him. Maybe without like squishing his face, but it's just kind of like, oh, you deserve good things.
So I think this team up, or putting Chimney and Bobby together for the emotional arc of this episode, is very smart.
Oh, it's so smart.
I think if that had all happened with Buck or Hen, it would have gone very differently.
And I think this also, I think having Chimney be Bobby's reminder of good things and good karma, and trying to get him to understand that, again, he does deserve good things. This also works because for one of the other really emotionally resonant storylines that we saw in Worst Day Ever, when Bobby relapsed and Hen and Buck found out, or found him at his apartment, and he did the whole breakdown and like was asking them for help. And I think I remember us kind of like being mournful that Chimney wasn't there. I think this is his way of being there for that. So whereas Hen and Buck have really been there to support him, of course Chimney as well, but we didn't see it quite as viscerally from the very beginning of that kind of arc for Bobby's character. Chimney is also saying, like, he's playing the same role because he wasn't able to in that previous episode. So this is him, showing Bobby his support in every kind of way, and every way that probably could be asked for. So I thought that was a beautiful team up to have Chimney really be Bobby's support system on this.
I also think like it's really a good team up also because after the rebar accident with Chimney, I mean Bobby was also there for him. There's also something to be said like about I guess like the appreciation of life because I think during the episode Bobby tells Chimney that he, like after he fills up I mean, what's the magic number? 146 people that he needs to save.
148.
148 people.
That was close.
Yeah, it was close. 148 people. I think Bobby is basically wants to be with his family. Who there was a point that I was going to make with this, but like, yeah. So like the appreciation of life, the appreciation of life, because like Chimney. Having gone through, I'm trying to make a connection. Sorry, Chimney. Having gone through like an almost death experience, could have like like wow, he's lucky, he has good karma, he survived all of that. And then Bobby, who's over here, who's like basically saying, I mean, I guess trigger warning, he wants to die after he does his penance. After he does his penance, something in the universe is basically saying, no, you're not. That's not going to happen. Which is his magic blood, the magic blood storyline.
Sorry, TJ was like making dinner while I was rewatching this, and he kept like predicting shit because it is kind of like a predictable-ish episode.
Yeah.
With karma, there is consequence
but yeah, like at the beginning he was just like karma's a bitch, and then I was like that's the name of the episode, and he was like no it's not. And then when we got to the beginning and like Bobby's like I don't do needles blah blah blah, and he's like he's gonna have like a super soldier blood, and I was like
did you write this episode, TJ?
I was like, have you seen this? And he was like, no.
It's like watching 911 without you.
But I was like, actually, and then I explained the blood thing, and he's like, it's like, oh, so yeah, he's the super soldier blood with the guy who served with Captain America. Like, yes, he does.
Anyway, oh my God, I always forget that, and then it like
me too.
I'm reminded, and I'm just like, worlds colliding.
Yes, it's incredible for you and I to forget that.
I know, because Kenneth Choi is so Chimney.
Yeah,
in my brain that to go back and to see him in like Captain America or Spider-Man, I'm just like, huh, Chimney, what are you doing here?
Yeah. But I think it's really cool how they kind of they start out the episode for Bobby like with this like really humorous anecdote with how he like everyone's laughing at him because he's like
legit.
He's like, they try to take my blood and I bit the doctor, and then the last time I tried to get blood, like he passed the fuck out.
I almost did too.
But I love that like they even show that in a flashback.
I know, it's so funny.
And we see so many flashbacks in this episode too, just to like have them use some of the time in this 42-minute episode to like really show that Bobby is not lying. He's legitimately like woo.
He is not a fan. So
which
I just
think
thought
just,
it was
like helps the irony of the whole thing.
Yeah, and it's adding more dimension to Bobby, which I appreciate, that it's not like all just sad boy and dad vibes. So, so I just thought it was really cool how they start out with this whole anecdote at the beginning, and it's humorous, and then they like go through he goes through the 8 stages of grief and different emotions, and then at the end, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a really cool way to play out that storyline.
Yeah. Do we haven't done a scene dissection. Do we want to talk about when Chimney confronts Bobby at the gym?
Yes.
Okay. Or I think actually just before we get into that scene dissection, I think it's important to talk about the conversation that Bobby has with the priest at the church.
Hot priest TM.
Hot priest, better Joe Alwyn TM.
Yeah.
Name brand Joe Alwyn.
Name brand Joe Alwyn. Oh, God.
So much hate. Oops. I think I started that too.
You did.
Can we have the return of this priest?
I would
Season
love that.
You got time.
I just want Eddie to be going to confession, talking about his gay feelings for his best friend. And the priest is really hot.
And then his cell phone with Katy Perry's Firework goes off again.
Call is coming from inside the house.
That would be interesting. Just saying.
Anyway.
So yes. So I think as an audience, we've kind of gathered as much as what Bobby's plans kind of were without them being stated fully outright like they are in this episode. And Bobby kind of uses the same language that Chimney does, where Chimney saying that he orchestrated the blood drive because it helps him feel more in balance with the universe. Like he got so much of that good karma from donations from other people that he wants to give back. So it's kind of like Bobby has so many like little mental hoops that he's jumped through with all of these things because
it's like a skewed mirror.
Yeah, it is a funhouse mirror because he's all like, this is the only way that he knows how to balance the scales or balance the ledger. He owes at least this much, not like anybody owes anybody anything. And we hear like fully outright what Bobby's plan is to fulfill those 148 names and then peace out, quite literally.
Yeah.
Even though when the priest says, the church's stance on taking one's own life, and he says it would cost
like, that's
Bobby
literally your immortal soul.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, these mental hoops that Bobby is jumping through because he's doing all of these good things, like he's trying to save hundreds of lives, but so that's like all of this good karma that he's getting, and yet he's content enough to get all of this bad karma by committing suicide, essentially. And it's just like there's no balance there, really. Like how does that balance out? And it still doesn't. And I think that's part of the fallacy of his thinking is that he doesn't think that any amount of good that he can do will balance the scales truly.
No. Well, I just don't think
or make up for the bad karma of.
He doesn't think that he deserves to be there, and he cannot live with the amount of guilt that he feels. So it's not just the him wanting to see his family again; it's the him feeling like he doesn't deserve it, and that he literally can't deal with the weight of living with that.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like, again, kind of like how Athena was at a standstill. Bobby's kind of at a standstill here too, because if he can't live with the guilt, but he also doesn't really want to die because he still feels like he has more work to do. It's kind of like you're kind of running me in mental circles here, my guy. Like, like it's a lot of.
So is his trauma.
Yeah, exactly.
So is his trauma and mental illness. Yeah.
This, sure. Oh, I'm trying to think of that word again that I can't think of. It's not dichotomy. It's not discongruent. It's not discordant. Something else where his words and his actions aren't really lining up exactly the same, because I think we see when he and Chimney go to the doctors
or when he gets the call and he thinks that it's going to be something, you know, terrible that they found in his blood and is going to be cancer. And you can see this dread coming over his face about, you know, not having enough time left, which also kind of goes into the themes of the episode. But it's kind of on a twofold. He realizes that in him thinking that he has some sort of terminal illness, he's thinking that he doesn't have enough time left to do what he wants to do. But I think that's also him realizing that he doesn't actually want to die or go anywhere, but he's made this deal with God. So he says, and he's trying to like keep that promise, but I think you really see on his face that realization of when faced with limited time, he doesn't wanna.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go, which brings into like some of the irony when he and Chimney are at the doctor's office and you know, Bobby's so prepared. He's like, you know, tell me how bad it is and everything like that. And the doctor's all like, no, this is a really good thing. This is literally a miraculous thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I loved that moment where the doctor tells Bobby and Chimney like what Bobby could do, like that his blood is helpful in the treatment for this like really terrible disease. And if you look at the episode and you look at both of their faces, Chimney, he just like bursts into this like little sunshine smile, like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. One, this is fantastic news because it means my friend's not dying. But also two, it's like him kind of thinking, well, who better to save a whole bunch of people's lives than the best guy I know? And like he's so happy to like on multiple levels for Bobby, but Bobby deflates like completely. Yeah. I think what you said, like he goes through like the 5 stages of grief. He's just like, no, like relief in that he's not dying before his time, but also disappointment that he's not dying before his time because he doesn't deserve that. He thinks that he doesn't deserve that he should live, but also like he wasn't ready to die. There's lots of layers with this one. So I think now might be a good time to dive into when Bobby and Chimney are talking at the gym.
Hey! Where's the fire?
I think this kind of starts off because like Rachel just said, talking about how happy and excited and all the different positive emotions that Chimney's feeling. And it's like, and then he came to the conclusion that this is also hilarious because he has to give blood all the time and he hates it.
That's the irony.
So, like any good friend, and especially like Chimney, he's got a rag on him, and he's like, this is hilarious. And he's like ribbing, thinking that they're like having a good time, that this is like a moment of like levity because like he's not dying and he can help all these people, and like he's like, who better to do this?
Like the burden is lifted off him,
right?
As Bobby is lifting weights, like a literal physical
weight on his chest and stuff. And this is like the most vulnerable and raw we see Bobby so far. I mean, besides with like Hen and Buck. Yeah, but he didn't really open up. He just like said help, right?
Yeah. This is the most like upfront I think he's been that we've seen on screen.
Yeah, like he gives a lot of information that Chimney did not have about.
Yeah.
Not just like his past, but like what he's planning to do because of it, and what he now can't do because he views this as like a karmic punishment.
And you know, he talks about how, or Bobby talks to Chimney about how he was put on this earth to be a lifesaver, and how that's so ingrained in his identity, but it's so at conflict with his sense of self otherwise, because he doesn't.
he doesn't believe that he can be a good lifesaver anymore because he's in his mind taken so many that it doesn't justify. He can't live up to his expectations or the expectations that the rest of like his friends or the 118 has for him, which is the expectation of him being a hero. And he's just like dealing with this burden and this weight that is just so crushing, which I think is also part of the narrative irony that they're doing this in the gym, in the locker room. Like it kind of puts more of a physical weight on Bobby as well.
Yeah.
And Chim is just like so taken aback by all of this. And because I think Chimney, like we've seen, just really believes in the best of people, right? And he has such high esteem for Bobby that it just kind of like throws him for a loop. And I don't know that he doesn't understand what Bobby's going through, but like he sympathizes with it. But I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Like, I think Chimney is as confused as we are with it.
Well,
not confused, but like,
I don't think he was confused. I think he was shocked. And then, you know, his friend is saying like he wants to kill himself.
Yeah.
Like, I made a deal with God. And he's like, I don't think God is who you made a deal with. Like, that sounds
I love
like
that line too.
Yeah, because that sounds like, you know, you made a deal with your own trauma, with your own crippling depression and PTSD. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a deal that God would make with anyone. But for him to be like, you're not, like, he knows that he's talking about killing himself, but he's like, I'm just gonna like say that out loud because maybe he doesn't know what that sounds like. Like when you say it out loud, like point blank,
like giving him that dose of reality, kind of like how Harry and May were giving that reality check to Athena, is just kind of like, do you understand what?
Yeah.
What
and
this is
Bobby
doing?
is just like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And you can just kind of see like the wheels turning behind Chimney's eyes. Like he just does not know what to do in that situation, which like
it's devastating.
It is. It's hard enough to encounter like on the job when they have to deal with that kind of thing, but when it's your friend, someone you like look up to.
Yeah. And I think for as much as Chimney may not in that moment may not know how to handle that kind of information dump, because also like, what can you even say to that, right? And I think that's also what we were talking about earlier with a lot of the, you know, people making up their mind to do something. So kind of like the hubris of the arrogance and the confidence of like making up your mind to do something and nobody else is going to be able to like tell you different. I think that's what Bobby was leaning towards until Chimney really stepped in and brought him to the NICU at the hospital, and that really got through to him. So with our people on the 118, like Hen has that remorse, and Bobby really kind of understands like the weight of all of the good that he can do. So it does kind of go to change his mind a little bit. I thought that whole scene too was such a beautiful tying a ribbon on their confrontation from the gym earlier, because it's Chimney helping Bobby reframe his perspective. Like, this is not
thinking that he's cursed.
This is not a curse. This is not a punishment.
Realizing that
this is a gift.
Blessed, right? Yeah.
So it really takes like it gives Bobby the ability to like 180 or potentially 180, because we don't like fully see that yet. I think this will help going forward as we know what happens in the last couple of episodes of this season. And it kind of takes the big bad karma and turns it into like a little hee. Like it's not karma getting its comeuppance. The true karma is that Bobby has to give blood like every couple of weeks and he hates needles. That's karma. That's the irony. It's just like silly hee ha ha.
That's just the LOL.
It's also like, you're not allowed to die. You have to give blood for the rest of your life. Ha ha, hee hee, ho ho.
Yeah, truly. It kind of takes the menacingness of karma as the concept and really just kind of like, you know, if like you see a shadow and it looks like this really big, frightening little thing, but then you turn on a light and it's, you know,
it's like your I don't know, your vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so much more innocuous than you thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what Chimney did for Bobby in this a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it really seems like it was able to get through to him because he was able to see this other family who was helped by him. And like, again, the karma, the irony of Bobby saying, okay, 148 lives, that's what I owe, and that's gonna be it. And then to give him this opportunity to save like thousands, so much more than he could have ever dreamed of. That is what I call poetry.
I wish I had not the time, but I wish I had watched the Bobby-centric episode from season 7. Because this was brought up.
I was just thinking about how much more meaningful this episode is, like having his backstory as a kid, which is absolutely fucking heartbreaking. It just gives a lot more weight behind this.
And how he reveals it to Athena. I forgot that this was, well, again, this episode to me is like a filler that I will not remember, especially since they never bring up the magic blood ever again, kind of.
Yeah, it's really disappointing.
But like the fact that they, like in that episode in season 7, like the fact that they even like tied back into the 148 names and and then what they reveal, and then what is revealed to Athena, that he threw away the book after they start, you know, their relationship. Like it's just like this episode does have a lot more meaning to me now that I'm remembering that this is something that transpired in season 7, because I forgot.
Yeah, like that whole line again where Bobby said he was put on this earth to be a lifesaver. Ooh, that hits different this time around with everything that we know that happened with his family and his dad specifically, and how much guilt and trauma he's had to harbor within himself from such a young age. And it's just like, oh my God, Bobby.
I know.
It's just like,
I just want to give you all the good things.
Yeah. It's like, I know I keep saying like Bobby is so tied to his religion, and I'm gonna find ties to that every time, but he really is like suffering for other people's for other people, right? It's like such a martyr complex sort of thing.
Yeah.
And which is like the complete opposite of hubris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he is his own like little Jesus figure that he doesn't think he can live up to.
That should be on the bingo card if we ever make one.
Bobby is Jesus.
Bobby is Jesus.
Confirmed. I'm telling you, I will find all of the ways to relate that. I think there's so much opportunity. Like this is kind of a turning point for fittingly like Bobby and Athena's character growth in season 1. I think this is kind of like the point where they turn the page and really start like blossoming.
So, in the last episode, you did this analogy about Bug and Abby being parallel trains.
I did do that, didn't I? It was so bad.
Right? So, okay, but I'm bringing it back because it was like they're on parallel tracks, but then they're going to, you know what I mean, for a time, but then they're going to split apart.
Yeah.
But Bobby and Athena are the opposite, where they're like their paths are nowhere near each other, but they're like going through their own journeys and growth, and then they're going to end up in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you using my metaphors against me. I knew that could go somewhere.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo.
I know that they're not together yet, but I just think it's beautiful that like their stories like separately and then together. I don't know. It's just beautiful, and they deserve each other in like the best way, and they just like
they really do.
They really get each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's because they have to do like, again, this is really good writing because they have to grow individually.
Yeah.
Before they can grow together. And
right.
I think that is if they hadn't gotten to this point for either of them, and it just so happens to be in the same episode because they both deserve good karma. If those hadn't happened concurrently like this, I don't think they would have lasted as long as they have in the rest of the series. But it's because you gotta learn to love yourself before you love anybody else. Right? Thanks, RuPaul.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. That was from Bobby.
Don't know why I heard that in Schmidt's voice. Amen?
Oh, amen, son. Amen. All day. All day, son.
Oh, man. We're gonna need the jaws of life over here.
I'll get you started. The men in these calls fucking suck.
Yeah, they're all like really awful, and they all have no remorse, and a lot of it has to do with them and animals. Like the guy at the gym left his dog in the car, and then you have the guy with the tree and how he was like a domestic abuser. And I'm not going to rehash all of this because I think I've talked about it enough in the last couple of episodes. But I'm saying there's like more of this theme that we're seeing, like the domestic abusers, the literal dog in the car, just the remorse. And I don't know if this was me being a little too like grasp at straws sort of things, but at the porch pirate call, when Athena shows up, I mean, they're in a neighborhood and you can hear like a dog barking in the background. I mean, I think that's just like part of regular sound design, but there was definitely a part when Hen asked Athena if that bee in your bonnet had a name, it would be Michael, and there is a dog barking at that moment. So I don't know. I think there's still something to this. Like throughout it's been more than half of the episodes. I keep finding more more stuff for that. So I don't know. I might be crazy. Thanks for not confirming that for me.
It's okay. Look,
this is where you say no. You're seeing things. It's fine.
Do you want me to? Okay. You're good, Rachel. Those were great connections. A++.
Thanks for that pity.
I don't know. I might be a little.
Well, I mean,
it's like you're not wrong, but also,
girl,
you're not right. You know, like you're not wrong.
Oh,
but like you said, you were like,
why did you say that?
Like a dog in the background is like a normal sound design thing because dogs. Because everyone has dogs.
That one was
and you're in the suburbs. And
but Rachel.
The rest of it.
We started what, like episode? When did they call Buck a dog? At some point, was it episode 2? It was episode 2, right?
That was Carla.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that was
Dog.
episode 2, and we heard
She
it
said
twice in episode 2.
She said all firefighters are dogs or something.
Yeah.
Yes, and Athena
Specifically
was
that one. I think
you had
really
you had the
wanted to
guy,
say.
you had the Hamburglar
Yeah.
with the dogs.
I also
I'm
don't
just saying-
think that comparing shady men to dogs is fair because dogs are delightful.
I'm
dogs
not saying
are-
I like it.
Dogs are loyal and friendly, and they just want to be good boys.
You're specifically
Okay.
talking about one.
No, I'm
Little
talking
golden
about
retriever.
dogs in general. The species of dogs.
Okay, yes.
like
yes.
actual physical dogs,
Actual dogs.
not like
Did I
people
just
who give
describe
dog energy.
Evan Buck-Buckley
Yes.
too?
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's a correct
I know.
relation.
I'm just adding my
saying
2 cents.
It's being presented to us, and
Yes, I
I'm picking up on it.
We need to
For some
reserve.
weird reason.
We need to reserve dog to like the good boy dog to Buck, and we need to stop calling. I think we need to stop
I'm
using
just
this comparison.
I'm sorry.
But-
Okay,
Okay,
something about like
a canine. So
Yes.
a wolf. We can just call them wolves, I guess. I think at the end of the day, a lot of the men that I've seen on this show right now, like minor characters, like
They suck.
they all suck.
yes.
Bottom line, they all suck.
It's pretty accurate in life. too,
And they
so-
That is
deserve-
true.
that karma.
That was beautiful. Tied it with the bow.
Thanks.
I don't know if that was part of our deep dive, but
Yes.
keep going.
They just really went off with the fucking music in this one again, but
Oh
like
yes.
it was hold on, let me get my list up.
That was like an evil sound that I made. I don't know.
Oh
yes, give me all of the karma songs.
Too bad Taylor Swift didn't rate Karma.
In
In 2018.
2018. So we have off the bat Karma Chameleon. Then we have
Classic.
Round and Round. Then we have Instant Karma, and this was my favorite one because they did this method that I absolutely adore. It's called diegetic audio. So, well, that's not really the method, is it? So diegetic audio is like the sound that you would hear in the actual scene. So like a dog barking in a suburban neighborhood. And then if you hear just like a song playing that has like, if Who Let the Dogs Out was playing and was just part of the soundtrack, that's the soundtrack. But if someone was playing Who Let the Dogs Out,
like the character
in the
is hearing it
scene,
on the radio
yes,
as well.
That's called diegetic audio.
Mhm.
So they did this really cool transition, which I love, which is where they take it from a soundtrack to diegetic audio. So the porch pirate was listening to Instant Karma.
Mhm.
Which weird choice. But anyway, so yeah, Instant Karma is playing for that whole little montage of her stealing all of the Amazon packages.
And wasn't
then
it the gym guy as well? Like when he pulled up in his truck, when that was the Round and Round.
yes,
I think they
so.
did it opposite. I think it was playing on his truck radio, and then it went into the soundtrack sort of thing.
Okay,
I think
you
it was
could be
opposite.
right. I don't remember. I try not to pay attention to that scene because the skin thing freaks me out. I hate when they like are touching in the skin.
God. I can't watch that. That I
No.
actually can't watch.
I really hate it.
It's really gross. They do such a good job. Good job, makeup department,
They do.
for making us so
Amazing.
grossed out all the time.
Yeah. All the time.
But yeah, so it's, I don't know. I just went, ooh, I love that thing. And that was the one single note I wrote down for this entire episode. So good
Ooh,
job.
I love that thing.
I love when they do that thing.
Yeah. You know that thing.
I
No,
love transitions like that are like really smart because you're not really supposed to notice it. It's just something that is a really good method of having a transitional scene.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I think it utilizes like the space of the scene well when they can do that, because it like really pulls the viewer in. But then it also like, it's like first person, but then it goes back to third person sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Playing with that kind of perspective on that is cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks for pointing that out, though. That's always fun. I loved the music in this one.
I
so
love
good.
what the on the nose shit's just funny to me.
Yeah.
It's normally out of pocket.
It is. And all of these were so out of pocket, but I think that kind of goes with the whole episode being just like, we're not going to obfuscate this a little bit. We're going to tell you exactly. But I think we were able to find like some subtle moments in there as well, but amidst all of the very like glaringly, here it is. For some more deep dive, I found some stuff about the man with the golden arm that we hear so much about. It's a true story. This gentleman, James Harrison, is known as the man with the golden arm. He is a blood plasma donor from Australia, and his blood actually does help in the treatment for rhesus disease, which affects pregnant women and newborns. And his blood plasma contains antibodies that are useful in that treatment. I did not understand any of the medical jargon that I like very briefly saw, so feel free to look that up on your own. But he donated regularly from the ages of 18 to 81. And that was about, I think they counted it up, it was 1,173 donations in those years. And he said that he was inspired to donate blood and blood plasma when they found out that he had those antibodies. Because when he was 14, he had a procedure that required a lot of blood transfusion. So he decided, and again, this is like a 14-year-old, so he decided he would sign up to donate himself when he turned 18. And he was, just like Chimney said, he was awarded the Medal of the Order of Australia in June of 1999. And he actually made his last donation at the age of 81, I think, because Australia has a cutoff, like you can't donate if you're older than a certain age. And he actually made his last donation May 11th, 2018. So I thought that was kind of divine timing, I guess you could say, for this episode. I know it aired in March, this episode, but in like the 911 universe, that would be great timing, because you know this guy is retiring, kind of, and then they found another guy with Bobby. So I thought that's kind of like maybe a little added layer of extra fun karma about that, and just kind of like interesting timing, the way this all worked out, like in real world sort of thing. And I read an article or an interview that he gave, and he a quote that I thought was really lovely was, he said, "Some people say, 'Oh, you're a hero,' but I'm in a safe room donating blood. They give me a cup of coffee and something to nibble on, and then I just go on my way. No problem, no hardship." And I thought that was just like so humble, and like someone with a lot of humility, like absolutely no hubris in this guy, right? And it just really struck me as something very Bobby, yeah. And he just seemed like a really great dude, doing really lovely things and being so chill about it, you know, like that's another person that deserves really good karma. So I thought that was, that real world kind of.
Yeah. I love
into it.
How they pull stuff from
and
reality, art imitating life.
Oh, excuse me. And then I have a couple other things. It's a little more like not super
I don't know, I have notes, but I haven't really been able to fully like articulate it. So maybe you guys can help me out a little bit here, but it was probably the guy with the zoo or the tiger that sparked this for me. Actually, just as a tangent, I'm pretty sure I do remember. I didn't look anything up about this.
That's
pretty
based
sure,
off of a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was an actual, I think it was a dentist too that poached a protected animal while on safari or something. Anyways,
yeah.
It's probably because of the tiger of it all, but something sparked to me about relating this episode a little bit to The Life of Pi, the book and or the movie. I don't know if you guys have read and or seen it.
I have. I think I've read the book and I've seen the movie for a college class.
Yeah.
I don't remember too much of it, though.
It's absolutely fantastic. I'm not even going to try to, I don't want to get too in-depth with it because there's a lot of layers that you can take from it and a lot of different kind of perspectives that you can interpret. But it's the story of this young man who things and stuff happens. So he's stuck in the middle of the ocean on this life raft with a tiger. And I just thought there were themes in Life of Pi that may overlap or have some sort of relation to this episode. And again, forgive me because it's not like super concrete in my brain, but there's the idea of like the nature of humanity and how maybe it's not so much different from wildlife. So using the zoo as a metaphor for human nature, something like that. This is mostly just me like positing thoughts, and whether it sticks with something sticks for anyone, here you go. So, but to like the zoo as a metaphor for human nature or wild animals, you've got that predator versus prey with the guy who was throwing the stuff at the tiger, and he was like, all, I'm the highest thing on this food chain, like nobody can, I'm going to, torture this wild animal and he actually says at one point, like, I outsmarted it, and then, just to be eaten by
what? Can I just say, what horrible zoo design? Like, why was that a thing in their enclosure?
Yeah, I think that is bad zoo design, but plot hole aside, something about like the zoo as a metaphor for human nature with like the hierarchy of predator versus prey, and how it can be switched so easily. And then Life of Pi also deals a lot with faith and belief, and I think we see that with Bobby. So it's like a perpetual quest of humans to comprehend the like spiritual phenomena that affects and rules our lives, which I think is a lot of what this episode is with karma. It's like putting like a name or something to like help us order the universe or something like that. And the main character Pi in the book, in I think mostly in the book, he explores many different religions, including Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. There's also an idea about like survival or the will to live, which I think also touches on Bobby as well, with how, we said that he didn't want to keep on living, but also he wasn't quite ready to die, and that kind of dichotomy. I think this quote that I read from an article on Medium, and it says, moral choices are flexible and are based upon each person's perception. So Pi, in the book, his traditional morals come into conflict with his actions, but considering his situation, it seems to be appropriate. So that kind of Bobby's religious morals about, suicide and stuff like that, how he justifies that kind of stuff. I thought there was something to that. Not fully fleshed out as much as I would like, but I think I feel like I was cooking with something there, but it's also kind of like hard because I haven't watched the movie and I haven't read the book in a really long time.
Same.
But I feel like there's a thread, like a connective tissue there if you really look for it. And then I think the last one I have is about the hubris of man, which we've been talking about so much. So it's excessive pride and arrogance. It indicates, or hubris often indicates, a loss of contact with reality and an overestimation of one's own competence, accomplishments, or capabilities. I think that's really prevalent in a lot of the people in this episode, and they so often were playing God. And even Bobby, I think, is playing God a little bit in his instance as well, where it's like you're assuming the powers of decision, right? Which is typically out of your control. And hubris, I think, kind of comes from ancient Greek and Greek mythology, and how in ancient Greek, the idea of hubris was actions that violate the natural order or shamed or humiliated a victim, sometimes for the pleasure or gratification of the abuser. And I thought that was exactly what we see here. And we see that a lot in Greek mythology, like Icarus, lots of stuff in the Odyssey. And another more modern example would be like Frankenstein, who's also playing God as well. So Dr. Frankenstein is violating the natural order by creating his own life, but gets his karmic retribution when the monster who he abandoned tries to he's trying to reaffirm the natural order, essentially. And there was a great 10-minute video that I saw on YouTube, and we can link that if we want. It's called Hubris, Nemesis, and Greek Mythology, from the account Then and Now. And I just thought that was interesting. It gives a little more in depth than what I've been able to garner otherwise. And there's also a Greek goddess. So hubris was not a Greek god or goddess. I think they call it hybris. But also in the other side of the coin is the Greek goddess Nemesis, which is retribution. So the goddess of retribution, to give what is due, people who went against, had arrogance before the gods, it's basically the Greek version of karma, essentially, right? So kind of like that justice from the gods in that sense.
So fun fact, tanning bed guy who locks his fucking dog
in
a hot car. So that's a true story. Happened in January. Well, okay. The article that I found, so this happened in January of 2018. So it's on brand, actually.
And recent.
Wait, would they have been writing this? Maybe I'm wrong. Would they have been writing this? When did this air? March.
March 7th. So they probably would have been hearing about this as they were.
Okay. So 911 writers of 911 saw this story January 2018 and were like, okay, let's make this go into our theme of karma. The tanning bed guy. So like I said, this is a actual true story happened in New Jersey. Of course it did. He was just found he was found dead in a tanning bed inside the gym. So the death did not look suspicious, and he was just found dead in there. So fun fact. What an awful way to die.
Truly.
The end. That's it.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
What a spectacularly gross way to die.
Yeah, it doesn't say much. It actually, I've been trying to, for the past 20 minutes, I've been trying to find actual cause of death, because each of these articles that I've clicked on kept saying the autopsy will reveal it. I'm like, where's the autopsy report? I can't find it. Or at least a mention of actual cause of death. But yeah, that in the tanning bed.
Was it because of like it was glitchy and it like overheated and he stayed in there too long, or just like
That's what I mean. Like, I can't find the actual reason.
Oh.
Maybe if I look harder, but
it's okay. That sucks.
That sucks.
So sorry to that man.
Did he lock his dog in a car, though?
No, it doesn't say.
I mean, if it was January, probably not.
Okay, fair.
If it were July, maybe.
Just a regular dude gym bro at a Crunch Fitness.
Oh. So
Yikes.
sorry.
Anywho. Well,
Gym tan laundry, am I right?
well, what a great way to transition into our slow burn, I guess.
Oh. Oh, that was a slow roller. So, yeah, we didn't get to see a whole lot of Buck this episode.
I'm very sad.
We're all very sad.
I am very sad when we are not about Buck.
Always.
But yeah.
I'm very sad when we are not about Buck and Eddie.
Yeah, it's kind of like
torture.
It's not, I love everyone, but it's just sad when he is relegated to just like a couple background lines.
He had some funny lines, though, but it's kind of like he's almost like invisible in this episode, kind of like a lot of people think that bisexuality is invisible, right?
Like it doesn't exist. Just like his character arc in this episode.
I mean, there's been a lot of Buck in the last, like,
yeah, I know.
3, and Abby as well. Like, she was there and she was answering calls, but like,
yeah,
nothing.
No, it's fine.
So
it's fine.
I'm just being
Give
dramatic.
him a break. I mean, he just choked on bread.
Just being dramatic.
He's recovering from his tracheotomy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing for this. Look at him.
Look at him. Perceive him.
Just look at him.
And soon, 2 more episodes left. Until these episodes are going to become 4 hours. And we'll cry, but we'll be happy about it.
Until we're editing it, and then
that's exactly what I mean.
Listen, maybe we'll get through these a little faster to get into the slow burn of it all. So,
oh yeah,
it's motivation.
It'll be a goal. Yeah, God.
Yeah. So
I mean, and it's funny because it's we're gonna be hit like with Eddie and Buck stuff like consecutively when we enter season 2 anyway, so that's gonna be fun.
So much. It's gonna be so good. Worth
the
wait.
I don't know. Either you're looking forward to that, or you're just gonna cherish these last moments of very short, slow burn segments.
They're gonna maybe they'll cherish that we really tried to be very intelligent.
Listen,
speak intelligently about these episodes,
except for the ones where I just go, look at him. Look at that bisexual.
Again, you're not wrong, so
I'm not. My expertise is that I have eyes, and I am also of the low stupidity.
Low stupidity.
Low stupidities.
Takes one to know one.
I'll probably have this out for Eddie when we finally fucking see him.
Well, someone's got to be out because it's not him. Let me out.
Closet is glass.
This closet's made out of straw.
Made out of straw, like a wolf, like the big bad wolf is gonna. I'll blow your house
all it's
down.
gonna take is a light breeze to knock that shit over.
It's a house of cards.
It do be.
Boy. Well,
I love how we always unrelated to Eddie, and then somehow we always end up here.
You will always.
we always end up
go
here.
back and do a fucking counter. How many times did we talk about a character that doesn't exist in this season? In this season,
I don't know. Maybe that's our true talent. Is bringing Eddie up where he is not.
I mean,
It
I
is
feel like we could do it more than we do. I feel like
I know.
we try and control ourselves.
Yeah, we reined it in a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And we should be proud.
So close. I can be unhinged. I can't wait. Can't wait.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
And we're trying to tell people we're so smart and looking at things academically, and that's gonna go so down the drain.
We're so listen.
It's not, but like just an extra layer.
There's a lot of
To our
lot of
onions.
storytelling that's gonna be happening.
I feel
we gotta talk about.
I feel like kind of like how people feel like season 1 of 911 is so vastly different from the rest of the seasons or the show in general. It's like watching a different show. Yeah, I feel like once we enter season 2 and all the other episodes progressing after that, like it's going to be a different podcast. Or at least we're going to try to stay in, our format, but like
I think it's just gonna flow better.
It probably
actually,
will,
to be
yeah.
honest. Yeah,
they're gonna be like, oh, finally, they stopped being so awkward.
it's not us; it's the show. Leave us alone.
We will still look at things from an academic and critical lens, but we're also gonna have a silly, goofy, fun time with it. Okay.
Yay! I shout out to, I guess, Buddie Nation Discord, but like I introduced myself. I said, like, me and my friends, we are doing a podcast, and at some point someone replied to me, and I was like, we are climbing up the walls to get to season 2. They were like, you're so real for that. I'm like,
Wait, I want to join too.
I sent you guys the link.
I know. I just haven't.
I keep meaning to join, but I want to join with my other account that I'm never logged into.
Wow.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I do want to join.
We
and
should
lurk.
join.
I think
I always lurk. I want to make friends, but I
lurk
always end up
too.
lurking and like.
Well, I think the person who created the Discord, just, fun fact, I think they are also a Steve Tony shipper. And because they asked me, and I was like, yeah, because
pipeline.
The best kind of buddy shipper is when the Venn diagram
Dean
also
Cass,
includes
Steve Tony.
Dean Cass or Steve Tony. When it's all three, I'm just like, we are Triforce.
Galaxy brain activate. Yeah, there's something to that pipeline.
Shout out to Lex.
Well, the Steve Tony buddy parallels.
Well, if you guys looked at my Twitter account and saw like my random
I saw it. I liked it.
America's ass. We can steal that for a meme.
For a meme?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. You guys have my full
Wonderful.
permission.
America's ass. LA's ass. I was going to say Texas.
They were both in the
Ass.
military ass.
God bless.
And then the other two are just ass men staring at hot men. Derriere.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other ones are like, I want that one. The really traumatized one with the dump truck.
That's
That's
why his
my
ass
type.
is so big. It's full of trauma.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Write that down. We need to use that as a meme.
That's why his ass is so big. I don't think of these things at all until
Then why is
here.
Dean Winchester's ass so flat?
I don't have an explanation. I blame
God.
the actor.
Blame God.
Blame God.
As in Chuck.
Ah.
Yeah, I know.
He said Dean has to have one fatal flaw.
It's not internalized homophobia.
Who says that's a flaw? It's a character trait.
Oh my god.
Wow, I think we've hit
I need to stop.
I think we've hit our clowning session for the episode.
Oh my god. Remember, don't donate blood if you're scared of needles.
But if you do,
take a buddy with you.
Thank you for listening to the Buddy System podcast from start to finish.
We literally cannot shut up about 911, so please come talk to us on your favorite social media platform.
we're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts to get a personal shout out in the next episode. The Buddy System is a Nerd Virgin media production featuring music from Divinity.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to exclusive content and our Discord community.
Catch you next time. And don't forget,
Bring a buddy with you.